She was abusive to the staff. Welcome to the Jacob Wayne Show. I am your Jacob Wayne, and with me once again is old Hickory Nuts, Kellen Givens. How you doing?
Hickory.
Oh,
Well, you know
that's
what
all
to
I can
say.
think of is your nuts and hickory.
All right.
Yeah,
That's three good things.
yeah. What are you sipping on, sir?
Oh, I got the only coffee shop open in Logan this late on a Sunday is the old Starbucks. But they've got this really
Mm.
tasty brown sugar oat milk espresso shaken thing that's really good. So that's what I
All
get
right.
whenever I have to go to the Starbucks now. I get that one. It's good.
I get a breakfast sandwich.
Nice.
That's like the thing I like from Starbucks.
Yeah,
It's not
those do
really
look
their
tasty.
coffee, it's just those things.
Yeah, I don't like any of their other coffee, but this one's actually tastes good. Most
There
of
you
their other
go.
ones I'm not into, but I'm like, oh, this one's good.
Yeah, as a black coffee drinker myself, it's like it's not a lot of stuff you can do to spruce it up the way I like it. So it's
Yeah.
either good coffee or not. And I just feel like I bought some Starbucks coffee and like a bag of it just because that was what we had to grab. It was kind of a similar situation. Like, got to get
Mm.
something while we're out and about. And it has the burnt taste. And I was like,
Yep.
oh, I thought it was just burnt because they just had it sitting there in the store. But I guess
Oh,
that's
they
just part of the flavor.
yeah, that's just how they roast it. I don't like their beans too much at all.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm sipping on coffee and a little bit of agua.
Ooh.
And that is because it is the 1st of May and I'm going to do a no drinky May.
Ah.
Yeah, so I'm sure I'll be quite irritable the next 3 days and then it should even out.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned, but this is the real test is I'm going to be I kind of wanted to have the fun hangout with Neil in town doing the drinking games and
Yeah.
yeah, this is like the test just to see, yep, have a lot of fun. And then you got to curb it to do all the responsible stuff you got to do in life and just see how well I handle it. I think I am getting to a point where, if it's like really like pulling teeth to like go back and forth, I might just have to not drink, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, good to keep those switching in.
Sure. But
So,
yeah, definitely feel drunkenness more than I used to. It's like if
uh-huh.
I have a few that night, it's like I want to sleep it off, end up sleeping in too much, just kind of groggy, stuffy in the nose, which I guess is a sign of perhaps an allergic reaction, which is interesting because the stingy
Oh.
armpit thing I've mentioned before, apparently
Yeah.
that's like swollen lymph nodes in your armpits, which
Ah.
is also an allergic reaction. So there you go.
Nice.
Maybe my body's just being like, yeah, you need to start smoking more weed, man.
There you go.
But yeah, I guess
All natural.
we'll see. I don't want to ever really be the official 100 like I just can't drink, I'm sober. Cuz I
Yeah.
just don't want that for my life. Maybe it's cuz I was raised in Utah, all Mormony, and it just rubs me the wrong way to be like I'm just clean and sober.
Yeah, I
But
get you.
no, it's I definitely need to find out if it's like, yeah, is it just easier to just not drink,
Hmm.
or can I fluctuate more and just be a little more conscientious of times to do that.
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely the type that, like, if I have one drink, it's like, well, all right, the rest of the night, let's keep this rolling. I like
Yeah.
to keep it going till the wheels
Exactly.
fall off.
Yeah. Once you get started, and beer does that.
Mhm. Well, I have gotten a little better at that. Like, for a minute there, I was trying out some whiskeys and stuff
Hmm.
because I like the idea of just having the little glass, some ice in it,
Yeah.
sipping whiskey. And I found myself after a couple beers, by the time I was getting down to like sitting at the computer gaming time, the whiskey would just sit there. And I'd be like, oh, I don't even know if I want that. So
Yeah.
I guess that's a good sign. It's
Yeah.
not super like, oh, I just gotta have it. It's alcohol. Fuck.
Yeah. I mean,
But yeah.
yeah, whiskey on the rocks is you gotta be focused on it because it does get too far. It gets watered down too much. I like it
Mhm.
just a little bit, like a minute after you pour it, it's like, oh yeah, right there.
Yeah. I think that is the biggest thing. I wonder if I have that deviated septum, but also I have noticed when I'm drinking, like, yeah, just all fucking stuffy up in this.
Huh.
And I'm like, all right. And then, yeah, more so with beer. If I get like beer drunk, like, obviously there's like slightly tipsy and then just drunk.
Yeah.
And yeah, the liquor obviously is worse. So I don't know. Just super stuffy, tired. Just, yeah, getting old. Be 36 in August. So
Yep.
yeah, just can't do it like I used to.
Feeling
But
them more. Yep.
that's all good. We don't want to. I don't think that's too depressing. That's just is what it is. But yeah,
Exactly.
let's move right along.
You can't
Any
use your knees and you can't drink as hard anymore. It's
Yeah, I
just
got
how
the
it
meat
goes.
sweats and
Yeah.
and the hot neck.
Yeah.
Ugh. And just, yeah, you don't get to have fun anymore.
Yeah. Trampolines are off limits now.
Mm-hmm. So we're tramps.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh.
That's a little bit of a side note. Have you seen the thing about the evolution of the tramp stamp?
I did see that somewhere. I
It's
don't
moved
remember.
from the lower back, and then it had moved down from the lower back to those like back like hamstring matching tattoos, like
Oh,
with the
yeah.
little ribbon or whatever.
Yeah.
And now it's moved up to the chest. It's those, like, not on the chest, but like right under the titties.
Ah.
That little, like, whatever that is, like the dream
Uh-huh.
catcher on their sternum.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you know.
Nice.
That if you see it on a boy, a girl, a zimzay's there, it's a tramp stamp. I'm being all inclusive here. It's
Oh yeah,
just
exactly.
you're gonna get me hitting on you a little bit more. That's all I'm saying.
Let me putting it out there.
Yeah. But
Uh,
yeah, tramp. Okay, that's where that came from.
yeah.
Food stuff. You got any new food adventures?
Let's see. Um, I don't think nothing nothing new. I did made a good old stop by the owl and
Hmm.
got some wings, and I do like their wings. They got some tasty wings.
They got a unique way of going about it. That was
Yeah.
when I worked there. I would definitely snack some of those on my meal time when I could.
Yeah.
That and a Reuben. That was kind of my go-to.
Oh yeah, they do have a good ribbon.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Yeah, while Neil was here, we cooked a cottage pie, which I was unaware that if you do it with beef, it's a cottage pie and you have to use lamb for it to be a shepherd's pie, which
Is
I
that
was unaware
so?
of.
I
Yeah, I
thought
guess
the
so.
cheese was what made it a cottage pie.
I don't know. That's just what
Ah.
I was told.
Well, in
That
that
you
case,
need lamb for shepherd.
I always make cottage pie too, and I use half beef, half bacon. So
Hmm.
who knows what that is?
So I guess that's something we could discuss a little bit. Is that we went off of Neil's recipe. We
Mhm.
had 8-year-old tomato paste in our pantry here. So I was like,
Nice.
we're not gonna use that. Like, we smell checked it and it was like like swelling out of the can. We're like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah,
And
it's alive.
so we ended up using SpaghettiOs and meatballs, just like a little bit as like the tomatoey base.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So it was interesting. And then we were kind of, because of that, discussing the variations. And we were kind of thinking like kind of a Mexican style, like a Mexican cottage pie,
Ooh.
where, like you get the corn in there, carrots, but maybe instead of peas, you do jalapenos. I think it'd still want mashed potatoes. Like I love the mashed potatoes
Oh yeah.
in that dish
Yeah.
no matter what. But like maybe instead of the green beans, you do like refried black beans or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, I don't know.
Mix in some like Mexican cheese instead of the cheddar on top. Give it
Right.
that little zing. Oh yeah, that'd be good.
So maybe we should try that when you come visit, and
Yeah.
we can experiment a bit and then do the other fun dishes that we make from time to time. But
Yeah. Sounds fun.
yeah, I guess that's good for chatting on food and stuff. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Muting it
I'm
for our
assuming that's what
listeners.
happened. I'm
Yeah.
assuming, yeah.
The listeners can't hear it,
You're
but
not yelling at Khan like, "Well, I
yeah.
thought I told you."
Fuck.
Yeah.
Jesus.
With that, let's go into bad news, good news.
Ah.
Bad news. Good news. Bad news. Good news. All righty. Let's
Yeah.
get into the bad news. But this one, I'm not entirely sure it is exactly bad news, and we can debate that.
Ah.
I'd play the philosophy song. Maybe we will play that at the end of this. We'll get into a little bit of it. So
There you go.
the bad news is Snap is launching a flying drone camera for Snapchat. Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
Okay. So Snap's spectacles, which I can't even remember those, the camera-enabled sunglasses failed to take off, but now CEO Evan Spiegel
Huh.
is taking Snapchat to the skies with a new idea designed to funnel more content into the service. This flying drone is called Pixie, a drone-powered camera that can fly around and record video and photos for sharing on the app. The Pixie flying camera is priced at $230, and they're available for purchase in the US and France while supplies last.
Yeah.
According to the company, Spiegel unveiled Pixie at the Snap Partner Summit 2022, its annual event for developers and other partners. It's a pocket-sized free-flying sidekick for adventures big and small, said Spiegel, Snap's co-founder and CEO. Everything you need to capture the spontaneity and fun of the moment from new perspectives is right in the palm of your hand. Pixie allows for 4 preset flight paths. It doesn't use controllers like conventional drones. Simply select a flight path and let Pixie take it from there, said Spiegel. Pixie is the world's friendliest flying camera. Oops. The world's friendliest flying camera, he said. The perfect new addition to your creative toolbox, helping capture new angles and making every moment fly. Videos from Pixie flights are wirelessly transferred and saved into Snapchat memories. You can then use Snapchat's editing tools, lenses, and sounds to customize the captured video. Then share it via Snapchat, chat, stories, or Spotlight. So, how does that make you feel?
Well, I mean, I don't like Snapchat. Well, I've just never, I just don't do a new social media thing comes out. I don't hop on it usually. So I just have never done Snapchat. Seems silly to me. But maybe that's just me.
That's fair.
Like, oh, not silly. It seemed useful for its original purpose. That maybe made sense. Yeah. Okay. I was like, all right. So I didn't.
Snapchat for pornography is like actually kind of a lot of fun. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
Because it's like if a couple feels like doing an amateur filthy little thing, like, oh no, look where I'm getting blown. and it's like a short little video, and you're like, oh wow, that's kind of hot. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's my thing. So I wouldn't.
That's the best thing about Snapchat to me.
Yeah, that seems like the only redeeming quality. But these cameras have already been around, like other ones. Just seems like they're getting them a little cheaper. Like that's like the cheapest I've heard of you being able to get a flyable little drone camera and program it to do stuff. So that's cool. I just
Yeah,
wish you didn't have to put it on Snapchat. I'm
for sure.
guessing that they do make you like it does only go to Snapchat. Maybe they don't, but I'm kind of assuming.
Yeah. Well, first of all, have you heard of these videos where it's like basically Snapchat is the social media app that is good for like sexual texting or sexting, as if you will.
Yeah.
And like, here's a quick little side titty shot, and there you go, and send me something. And then it disappears. I think that's the whole crux of it.
Yeah.
But then people just save them anyways, and they end up on the porn
Exactly.
sites, from what I hear from friends. And they apparently it's like the realm, it's like the perfect tool for a cuckold. So the cuckold will send his lady out into the world, and then she does filthy things with strangers, and then sends the Snapchats to him, and like, look how pathetic you are compared to this guy.
Ah.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. And
Wow.
yeah.
Well, I
So
think this.
now with this little pixie, you can start making those cuckold videos look like a Michael
Bro,
Bay film.
like who's the camera guy? It's like a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. The guy that she's cucking with will be like Nicolas Cage, like, put the cock down.
Uh, run that scene again.
Yeah. So like the dynamic shots of it, I think, are intriguing. And so yeah, it when I read it, I initially reacted as like, oh geez. Like
Mhm.
it didn't actually hit me in the social media way, because I'm pretty neutral. I use social media as a promotional tool, helps me sell my artwork, helps me share cat videos.
Yeah.
And I liberally block people. So it doesn't annoy me in the same way it does other people, because I think people either A, don't know that they can block people, or like fuck with their algorithm to get more of what they want,
Ah.
or it's just like they feel guilty blocking people. But I highly recommend it. It makes the whole thing way better. And even if I care about politics, let's say, I realize that I just need to stop reacting to that stuff on social
Mhm.
media.
Yeah.
Like, whether I like it or dislike it or whatever, I just don't give it anything. And even if they like put too much of that kind of news in my feed, I do the snooze for 30 days. I'm like,
Yeah.
stop that. Like, leave me
Uh-huh.
alone with that shit. I do it on my own time. I try to wake up, go to my AP News app,
Uh-huh.
Associated Press. They're the one at the top of that chart of like pretty
And
much
then
the most unbiased news, which it really is. It's just the Associated Press. So I just read them, and then I'm like, I'm gonna try to have that be my news for the day. I don't need it from my Facebook or Snapchat or anything. So I know I got off point up there, but I guess my reaction to the Pixie thing is it's the dystopian idea of drones flying everywhere. And
but
it's
it's
just
just
like advertising and all these things creeping into our life even more. Like, I think you saw
yeah.
that one story about a barge that just had a billboard on it, like going by people on the beach.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things, just like really kind of like, oh God, it's just like going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
But if I really start thinking about it, I'm like, well, no, drones are cool. It doesn't bug me that bad, especially if I'm like downtown and it's like it's there and it's a bunch of people. Like, I don't like a bunch of people anyways, so
Yeah.
it's just becomes part of the whole thing. And
Everything. Yeah.
yeah, and And then when I think about it, like we were discussing earlier, like the camera angles and like, okay, it can make some fun, creative videos
Yeah.
for our Zap d'Espion. So, or whatever. And yeah, so I guess that's kind of where I come down on it is I had a bad news reaction to it, but the more I thought about it, I was like, well, I think the fact that it was Snapchat, and then I'm just picturing like the selfie stick girls just having another
Oh,
tool
yeah.
in their arsenal to
Full thing
say,
flying
oh
around
my
them.
god, I'm an artist. And just like, oh god.
You'll see how it zooms in on my butthole right here.
Yeah, look at it zooms right on my butthole while I'm cocking you. And it's just like, oh god. So let's get on to the good news though. There's been a race to design a bacteria that can eat plastic. There's a
Ooh.
lot of words in here that I'm going to have kind of a hard time with. But a new study suggests that an enzyme which targets polyethylene terephthalate, oh my god, polyethylene terephthalate, a widely used
What the?
polymer found in a majority of consumer packaging products that comprises 12% of all global waste. They could make the scientific dream, which is also oh my god. I got this one from slate.com. Talk about a fucking liberal rag. They just have to well, which is also a planetary necessity, by the way. You're just like, I don't need to just tell me what the thing is. God damn. So anyway, the key ingredient was a natural enzyme known as the PETase, like PETASE, and for some reason they capitalized PET. So like PETase. According to the paper published in the scientific journal Nature, using a machine learning model, scientists at the University of Texas at Austin's Cockrell School of Engineering and College of Natural Sciences figured out what mutations would cause the enzyme to be able to quickly break down the targeted types of plastic waste. Collectively,
Wow.
our results demonstrate a viable route for the enzymatic plastic recycling at the industrial scale, the researchers concluded in their paper. Enzyme scale-up has been a well-explored problem in many industries. Hal Alper, professor in the McKetta Department of Chemical Engineering at UT Austin, told Salon by email when asked how long it would take for this enzyme to be available on a wide scale. Good Lord.
Wow.
Paragraphs are, I'm going to take a little break from this thing. That's part of the issue with science news.
Yeah.
You get into the articles and it's just like a mouthful of like where the news came from.
Yeah.
And then it's using words that they know you don't know. So, and rather than doing like, by the way, climate change is happening, you should be fucking guilty. You could have used that first paragraph to just like, this is what these words are.
Yeah.
Like a word key, maybe even.
Be nice.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of how to get more people into science news. But
That's a good idea.
therefore, we feel that this part of the problem is easily achievable in a short period of time. The more challenging aspect will be implementing enzyme degradation on large scale with mixed stream plastics. Mixed stream plastics are all non-bottle plastics collected from the waste stream or the entire life cycle of the garbage produced in a community. Now, this is where I thought this was at least a little more intriguing, was that in March 2016, this is kind of regarded as somewhat of the beginning of looking into microbial digestion of plastics in order to break them down. So in March 2016, Japanese researchers found a bacteria known as Ideonella sakaiensis. Ideonella sakaiensis, that they marveled would eat the plastic outside of an Osaka bottle factory until it turned into sludge. The new species, Ideonella sakaiensis, breaks down the plastic by using two enzymes to hydrolyze the PET, or the, what was that, PETase, and a primary reaction intermediate, eventually yielding basic building blocks for growth. Now, I tried to pull as much info out of that article as I could, but I think at least the concept is fascinating enough to bring up. That they are working on this bacterial way to break down plastic, but also as a potential fuel source or energy source. Like, and I know I've come across some of those articles where they're looking into the ways for bacteria to be able to break down waste in order to generate energy in a clean way. And so it's like all these developments that are happening in the, I don't know, I guess what would you call that? Like bacterial microbial sciences.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fascinating. It's like all the knowledge that we've been gaining lately, not just about this kind of stuff, but like the microbiome in the belly. I know we talked about that a while back.
Yeah.
And just like all knowledge of the internal world of ourselves rather than just the external. It's kind of fascinating stuff. But I'm excited. So I think it's a subject we should pay attention to, and it's just one of those developing things in the world that it's worth being a little more hopeful about what we could potentially do to curb the issues that we face today, which obviously one is ocean pollution and pollution in general. But yeah. Anyway, so there's some good news for you.
Hell yeah.
With that, let's get into music. Well, there you go. I was trying to find it, but it suddenly got lost. So I was gonna ask you what you know about Carl, your brother and my buddy, his new band he has going on. And I found it. They just released a song on Spotify called God's Hand.
Yeah.
And their band name is Trinity of Golgotha. But the of is like OV.
Yep.
So what do you know about it?
But just got a buddy up here in Logan that plays bass, and their buddy down in Salt Lake that plays drums, and they've been jamming. It's some pretty cool metal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was hoping for a little bit more. Is it a 3-piece?
Yep, just the three of them.
All right.
Jason is doing lead vocals, the bass player. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much the guttural metal.
Yep.
Yep. That kind of thing. So if you're into that, it's a good time. I thought it was mixed pretty well. Do you know where they recorded it?
I think the drummer did that. He's a sound guy down there. So yeah.
Well, there you go. I thought it sounded pretty good. So yeah, keep your eyes out for Trinity of Golgotha, and you can go listen to their first single, God's Hand.
Yeah.
And with that, the only other music, I guess I'll just go over Gamma Paw real quick. We had a good show at the Lyric. That's nice to have that done and out of the way, no matter how much fun it was. Kind of looking forward to at least a week or so of just getting stuff organized at home and back to recording and finishing up some of our EP things and all that. But Gamma Paw's starting to really get rolling along, and picking up shows and followers and things of that nature. So one thing that we were saying, and if you as a listener are into this, feel free to write us at the Jacob Wayne Show at gmail.com or fakoshka at gmail.com, is there's a band out here called Spliff Tank. And we were thinking about, wonder if we could set up a mini tour in the future where we come to Utah, hit up Salt Lake, Logan, maybe play the Cache,
Uh-huh.
and then maybe a gig in Wyoming, come back
Ooh.
to Fort Collins, play one more gig. So maybe like a 3 or 4 show mini tour.
Yeah.
And then we were kind of thinking, like, I don't really feel like doing the double duty thing. So be like Gamma Paw, maybe Swamp Donkey, or and Spliff Tank, or it's like some variation. We could maybe do this Trinity of Golgotha, or something you wanted to bust out, or I don't know.
There you go. That could be fun.
Yeah, so that's like all a hypothetical that we were discussing. And I was like, yeah, if we go to Utah, we should get the Gibbons involved in some capacity.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but yeah, new release. There's a new album from Rammstein called Zeit, which I believe is German for time. And it's very, very much a introspective, somber album, but with all the humorous flair and heaviness of a Rammstein record.
Nice.
We will do an Albuminate review on that soon, so that's all I'll say about it, but you should definitely go listen to it. I found it to be have elements that were kind of like a standout for in comparison to other Rammstein records. So
Nice.
yeah. Anyway, you got any other new releases or things you want to mention, shout out?
No, not coming up in the next little while, so I'm good for this week.
All righty. With that, I guess we'll get into movies and shows and things of that nature. I'm kind of in a show heavy period at the moment, so I'm trying to catch up on what Better Call Sauls are available, which is a great show. If you don't know about it, it's the prequel to Breaking Bad. And if you don't know about Breaking Bad, I feel bad for you. And Ozark's last episodes just dropped, so I'm hoping to jump into those soon.
Nice.
Also going to be starting up season 3 of Barry, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
Hopefully getting rolling on that tonight. And I'm going through the slog that is Moon Knight. That's Marvel's new series on
Yep.
Disney Plus. And I think all I will say is that I'm very perplexed by it, because it should be entertaining me. I feel that every time I watch an episode. Like, this has got some really cool, interesting, unique stuff in it. But man, I'm like bored out of my mind watching it. And it doesn't connect to anything relevant or interesting in the Marvel Cinematic Universe like some of these other shows have. So it's like, this is the first time where I'm like, I don't know if I need to watch everything they put out. Like, because there was that feeling. I'm a little more into it than some people. And I was like, no, let me keep up on all the MCU stuff and like follow the whole narrative, even the little stuff. And I think some of these MCU shows have been pretty good. And I like them more than some of the recent MCU movies. But this is the first thing where I'm like officially like, I don't think I need to keep up on everything.
Yeah.
I'll just watch the movies that appeal to me.
Good plan. They're
And
making a lot.
Well, and that's the thing with a lot of companies are doing right now, which is depressing a little to me, is that every company, especially streaming company, is like trying to buy up IP and just stretch it out as much as they can to cover the broadest audience they can.
Yeah.
So another example of that is Star Trek, where they're like churning out like 5 or 6 different shows.
Yeah.
And one's like, this is the old Star Trek generation, the beginnings of that. And then here's this new one with Picard when he's all old from the next generation. And then here's this one that's like a cartoon and it's for kids. And here's this other
Yeah.
one that's like a totally new generation, like separate from all of that, called Discovery.
Yeah.
And they're doing the same thing to Star Wars and MCU. And it's just like, yeah, I love these universes. I want more content in them. But yeah, it's
not,
weird how it has to like cover all the bases. It's like, we'll do a kiddie show and we'll do this one for adults, sort of, and this one's for the family. And then I guess the only part I resent is that they're like trying to build in the necessity to watch it. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to know what the whole story is, you have to watch the childish cartoon to keep up with what's going on in the more adult stuff. And that's kind of what I resent, I guess, is with the
Yeah.
MCU, they put out a show called What If? It's just stories from the multiverse. Like, so it's like, what if the love interest from Captain America was the one that got the serum that made her super strong, and she becomes Captain Britain or whatever her name was. And it's just like, oh yeah, what if? I don't know. Hold on a second.
It's all the money coming in.
I don't have a sneeze yet. It was about to happen. It went away. Oh no. So, but yeah, it is all the money. And
Yep.
yeah, I don't know. That is what makes me like regress back into watching singular films from like the 80s or 70s. I was like, yeah, I'm good. Just one and done. That's the story. Like, I just don't want to be dragged along on some of these rides. But I do feel like there are some adjustments they've made. Certain shows are realizing when it's good to call it good. I think Ozark is one. They're like, all right, we're wrapping it up. Yeah, there's little things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just the nature of the business, I suppose. But speaking of a film that, oh man, we might have to save all that for next week. I realized I watched a bunch of movies with Neil this past week that were all part of our little drinking game thing, but that's a bit too much to dive into. So just try to help me remember to bring that up next episode, because that's fun to go over.
All those cool.
But I will say, before we would watch any of those movies, we started playing Birria.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Cards. Sorry. We had experienced some technical difficulties, but it's quite fitting for some of the discussions we've been having. Zoom now only lets you do a certain amount of time before it's like, you're done, and just starts exporting the video. So
no prior warning. Or
I went and listened to the file, which will, to you, the listener, it'll be a seamless transition.
It's like we planned this.
Yeah, it'll be anyway, this is part 2 of the one episode. I was mentioning, have you ever heard of Birria Kart?
No. Well, I saw your post about it.
Yes. Well, Birria Kart is a fun little drinking game. It kind of helps get the night started. You got to get your Montucky ready, or lighter beer.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can use stronger stuff if you want, but just be warned.
Yeah.
Then you go into Grand Prix, and the whole game is you have to finish your beer by the end of the Grand Prix. So you cannot drink until the race starts. Once the race starts, you can't drive while drinking. So you essentially have to stop your car in the middle of the track and drink if you want to. But you have a couple other workarounds right at the beginning of the race. Once it says go, you can take a quick swig and then start going. Or if you're floating through the air, like off a jump, you can try to get a quick swig in there. You get knocked off the edge, think you can fit one in. Or if you're just in 12th place and you're like, fuck it, you just pull up to the finish line and just chug the whole damn beer, and then you're good to go for the next 3 races.
There you go. Wow.
But yeah, you do about 2 or 3
Huh.
Grand Prix and you're nice and toasty for the rest of the evening.
I'll
That could be
bet.
all you
Wow.
had to do if you wanted.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to play that
That sounds fun.
because yeah, you just do one of those, then it's no big deal. If you want to get fucking wasted, just keep playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So Beerio Kart.
That's a good game.
Yep. And also, we played a video game called The Stanley Parable. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
an interesting
a
one.
weird narrative, choose your own adventure type game
Hmm.
where this narrator like just reacts to whatever you do. So it's like, for example, really early on in the game, it's like Stanley walked through the left door. And you can choose whether you do what the narrator says or, fuck that. I'm going to go through the right door. Oh, it appears Stanley actually wanted to check out the break room before he went through the thing like I told him to. It's like it's got all kinds of fun stuff like that, and it's like really kind of creepy and philosophical at the same time. And what's the funniest part is that if you just follow his directions and go through the whole thing kind of the way he pushes you, you beat the game and you walk outside. It's like, oh, all right.
huh.
But like the whole thing is to just kind of try to defy him to get
Yeah.
different endings. And I just, I feel like I almost explained too much because it is good to go into the game like blind. And
Yeah.
I think it has a pretty short shelf life in those ways. It's something everybody should play. And just, yeah, I think it worked really well with being on the couch with your buddies and you just pass the controller around and just kind of watch it and play it like a movie almost.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fun.
And it's a lot of fun. But you weren't there when we did our that other choose your own adventure movie video game, were you?
I don't think
Yeah,
so.
we'll have to maybe bust that out sometime you're down here too. But some of those have been really fun and interesting, and I'm excited to see how those games develop. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was just a quick little video game thing. Any video
Nice.
game movie stuff on your end?
No, nothing. Nothing
Been
new.
pretty busy.
Still working. Yeah, been doing mostly the musical. That's been taking up all my video game and movie and that kind of time. So still grinding away on the solo Valheim playthrough when I can.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I don't think. Yeah, there's a new enemy in the swamp since we played. The
Hmm.
swamp is a little more exciting now. There's kind of like it's like the next like the troll. You run into the troll in the forest. This
Mm-hmm.
is like the troll of the swamp, but they made a creepy little guy.
Huh.
Well, it's a gigantic thing, but
Yeah.
yeah,
All right. No,
yeah,
I think we're waiting for those biomes to get fully released and then probably hop back into it.
yeah. It's gonna be
I
there's some big updates coming. It's gonna be cool.
did I mention Arc
You
last
talked, yeah.
time?
I know you talked to me about it, but I don't think we talked about it on here.
All right, yeah, it's kind of like more hardcore Valheim.
Hmm.
It doesn't appeal to me much right off the bat, but I'm gonna give it another go. Kind of mess with it this week to see if I'm like officially like, nah, this isn't for me, or
That's the
um, kind of get the swing of it. But Shockey seems to love it,
uh-huh.
and so we're all kind of dancing around the 5 of us, like, is this going to be one we all get into and play every night or every other night? And it's looking iffy, but we'll see.
Oh,
But yeah, hardcore Valheim You
with
train
dinosaurs.
dinosaurs. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can ride the raptor around and it helps kill things, or you can get on a triceratops and like stomp the ground to gather the stuff in the grass like berries and whatnot.
Huh.
And I just, for me personally, it is difficult. And so usually when I'm getting into gaming mode, I'm like rarely in the mood for stuff like that. I kind of like casual stuff.
Uh-huh.
But then yeah, like the movement of it, the mechanics are just like a little wonky to me.
Yeah.
Like not fun and fluid. Not the worst. It's like they're not bad, but like it's enough to like make me be less willing to go through the frustrations of the game just
Ah,
because it's a little clunky to me. But
gotcha.
Shockey disagrees. So I am
Huh.
definitely just one man with his opinion. But yeah. Anyway, that's some video game stuff. Let's talk sports real quick. Yay! The Utah Jazz lost in the NBA playoffs. So I'm going to make a prediction here. Trust me, this is going to go real fast. I think the finals this year just may be a rematch between the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks.
There you
So
go.
each week we'll check in and see how close we get on my prediction. But I think the dark horse candidates for the finals this year could be Boston Celtics, maybe in the East. And then there's a pretty interesting series going on right now between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Golden State Warriors.
Ah.
They just had a good game. So maybe one of those teams, if they can eke it out. At this point, it seems like injuries are a major factor about whether a
Ah.
team's going to be able to keep competing at the level they need to. But that's my prediction.
Big
Rematch of last
sports.
year. Maybe Phoenix wins this one. But there
There you
you
go.
go, sports.
Nice.
With that, let's get into this day in history and call her good.
All right.
Hopefully, Zoom doesn't cut us off. Before you get started, if you're listening and you like this, tell us how you feel about us maybe moving this podcast to Twitch and doing
Oh,
it live. And then, of course, we'll
okay.
have the video file and we'll move it over to YouTube once we have that.
There you go.
But yeah, let us know how you feel as a listener, all 5 of you.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go from there. And maybe we'll take a week off to figure that all out or something. But anyway,
All
this day in
right.
history.
First of all, it's May Day, founded in
Hmm.
1889, marked by dancing around a maypole, and it's a labor holiday designated by the International Socialist Congress. Uh-oh,
China.
socialism. All right, let's do some birthdays.
All
We got
right.
Wes Anderson,
Okay. Well,
Tim McGraw,
666, the mark of the beast.
and Judy Collins.
who's she?
She's an old singer. You'd recognize.
Is she good?
Yeah.
Judy Collins.
Then Calamity Jane, American
Uh,
frontierswoman,
what was she known for?
causing a ruckus.
Hmm.
Wild Bill Hickok.
Because next time I
So-
come for you, I'm going to want some cocktail. Fruit.
Fruit.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, she was up in Deadwood, South Dakota. There you go.
Deadwood, South Dakota.
Yeah. All right. In 1999, the body of mountaineer George Mallory was discovered on Mount Everest, 75 years after he and Andrew Irvine disappeared while they were trying to attempt they were the first summit. So they got lost on the, I think maybe he made it, but they didn't make it down. So, but they found his body like in 1999. They've been up there for a long time. Let's see. Amtrak started in 1971.
Lord knows
Ooh.
I have.
The first major airplane hijacking in the United States occurred when a man forced a commercial airliner from Miami to Key West to detour to Cuba.
What the hell is even that?
Citizen Kane premiered. Some consider it the best movie ever.
No,
Okay.
it deserves a lot of respect, but I don't know. Best movie ever. Jesus Christ.
Well, I want to watch it now. I
Yeah.
didn't know what people like. Somebody thinks that. I kind of want to watch it now. So
We probably should. I've never officially sat through it, but
Yep.
I can already know just by knowing what it is and looking at him like the best movie ever. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Nostalgia.
It's real hard to compare stuff with technology's influence too, you know? It's like not
Sure.
even like movies have already gone over such a wide spread of things that it's impossible to compare them as movies anymore.
Kind of, yeah. I
But
watched Casablanca and there's like one scene that's like kind of moving in it where all the people in the cafe or bar where they hang out start singing their country's song in defiance of the Nazis. It's like, yeah, that's moving. I get why that's a big scene, but like the rest of it, I was like, huh, it was like one of the best ever, huh? Like,
Yeah.
all right, I guess.
Yeah, strange.
Mm-hmm.
All right. In 1931, the Empire State Building opened and stayed the tallest building for 4 decades.
Yes.
Iodized salt went on sale in the United States for the first time in Michigan because Michigan was known as part of the region known as the Goiter Belt because everybody had goiters because they didn't have enough iodine. So they started making iodized salt. That really Goiter Belt? Like I got so
Goiter
weird.
Belt.
Band name.
Don't make me go get my goiter belt. You hear me, boy?
And the first postage stamp was released in England in 1840. And also in 1961, Castro banned elections.
666, the mark of the beast!
Yay.
All righty.
Not too bad this day, you know, some good, some bad, some ups and downs.
Yeah.
We got
Mayday.
rid of goiters.
What's the name of this episode? Don't make me go get my goiter belt.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't even goiter.
Don't even goiter. Well, yeah, I think that's good for an episode. And
Indeed.
yay, more editing for me.
Yeah.
Should be nice and quick though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess this pushes us into switching over to Twitch and start doing this live for folks.
Indeed.
And yeah, maybe you can even interact with us in real time. And we'll have a little pixie drone flying around us watching as we make our cuck video for you live.
Tip $5 for a butthole zoom.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been real, homie, and I'll talk to you next time.
See you later, y'all.
Ta-ta. Thank you for listening to The Jacob Wayne Show. If you would like to contact us, please write us at fakkoshka@gmail.com. That is FAKOSHKA@gmail.com. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Simply search The Jacob Wayne Show and it should pop right up. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. Please write us. It helps add content to the show and makes the show even better for you, the listener. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the
Welcome to the